What is up, JG603, owner and operator of TSW Wrestling, as 603 Mania season continues to heat up. The power rankings actually have been pretty stagnant this week. Let's go check it out. So I think this is the first time in history that a lot of these guys actually stayed exactly where they were last week, but some additions, some subtractions. Let's touch on those, I should say, right now. Honorable mention to Bama right here, of course, challenger for the tag title. Soon getting some more honorable mentions in a few, but we're gonna say goodbye to Chef Savar and Fend from the top rankings. And of course, gotta mention Tony a little bit here. Poor Tony, losing, of course, the Tony title to Electric Boogaloo to Miz. And also a quick shout out to Prod and Animal for some trio victories. And why not Grim? You'll probably find out in a couple moments, as he was the one to put a man through a table this week. But starting off at number 30, actually staying pat despite the loss here. Now, maybe some controversy on this decision. Rowdy, of course, a little bit slow as of late, but that Rumble performance, 5 eliminations, I thought was absolutely fantastic from one Rowdy time. So great showing that hardcore match as well. Last man pinned, technically nearly this close. I thought that Rowdy bomb at the end, I thought he had the title. I was stunned. I thought he had it. We're gonna keep Rowdy right here. I know Rowdy get taken out at the end of that match by Roldy. So we're gonna see what's up with Rowdy going forward, as a lot of these guys taken out by Roldy haven't exactly bounced back quickly. Moving right along, aforementioned Grim Reaper 603 represent, of course, getting that win for the trio of Prod, Grim, and Animal. Will be going on, I do indeed believe, to face Congregation for a shot at Team America at 603 Mania, unless we get an old curveball here in the channel, which you never know in TSW. But big win there, puts him to the table. Nice job there by Grim Reaper. Moving right along, on the sidelines a little bit this week, but of course we'll touch on his partner in just a little bit, who's been actually electric. But Roy McCracken, hot streak as of late, of course, alongside his XHG faithful here. So we're gonna see XHG versus the Apocalypse. It does indeed appear going forward. Curious to see what backup each side can possibly gather. And we still have these questions, by the way. We mentioned about Chris and Chico and Swain himself and the outcome of Hell in a Cell, and we still have some dominoes to fall into place in that situation. We have got Rocks here. Drops back 3 spots inactive this week, but he has been so hot here in TSW. Fantastic showing in the Rumble and in matches with Brand 2K, as well as the trios as well. Mentioned they will be going up against a rematch, by the way, against the Animal Instinct group here. So best of luck to Rocks the Girthquake. We got AJ. Really funny. I forgot I still had him in that. We're gonna come into that. You know why? Because he's here because indeed the shocker of a lifetime. AJ is indeed the goon pulling the wool over our eyes. Sneaky shaving the beard. No one would have picked up on his face without. I tell you what. So of course AJ clearly sick and tired of hearing that Boxy was the better of the Dutch, so to speak. So this is a big matchup. We are here to confirm at 603 Mania. It will be AJ versus Boxy, one-on-one for the Universal Championship. You gotta believe Albrecht will be at ringside, assuming he heals up fine enough in time for that matchup. It is a colossal match. Not only is Boxy officially, as of today, the longest reigning Universal Champion, but AJ could be the first ever 2-time Universal Champion, kind of taking a little record away from Boxy, a guy who's got quite a lot of records in his own rights. We've got DJ Scorpio. Of course, one half the Birds, #1 contender for the tag titles. We're not quite sure how that tag situation is going to shake out. Looks like likely these two are on a collision course at Mania, talking about the Birds and the Founding Fathers. Sorry, the Birds, the Cockadoodle Dudes, if you will. And speaking of DJ, we got Swanee ranked here as well. Of course, DJ, tough loss this week, but looked pretty good in there against Landmark. He lasted, frankly, a lot longer than I would have expected. And Swanee likely in a matchup with Finn, the other half of that tag team equation this week. But we'll touch on Finn a bit later and some of what he's been doing here in TSW, especially costing this man a shot at the gold. Now, it makes a lot of sense if you're Finn, if you're the Founding Fathers, of course. It doesn't behoove Finn to force Landmark to defend against another individual. It makes all the sense. We'll beat them for the tag titles. Now, Joker, turned on by Raw, which you truly do hate to see, is out of 603 Mania right now. But you gotta believe Joker wants a little bit of revenge against Finn. Again, Finn's expected to face Swanee this week, tag titles in the future, but you gotta watch out, because you gotta think that the Doctor of Death is maybe lurking in the shadows if you're one half the tag team champions. We've got Yunk here, talked about him a few ago, only moved up 3 spots despite a nice 2-0 start, but to be fair, it was against Joby, relatively unproven, though he did look pretty good in that matchup. So of course, as we mentioned during the broadcast, you know, end of 2K24, we want to make sure we get some of these guys we have had floating around. So Joby, great to see you in the ring there. Would love to see you in 2K25 as well. Swing through, show some love in the goddamn house, as we like to say. But Yunk, big win with that big ending, really out of nowhere too. It was kind of a true back and forth there, but Yunk and Roy, of course, Steel City here, dominant showing so far, definitely embroiled with something with the Apocalypse as 603 Mania grows closer. You got to question, maybe they're setting up for something at the showcase between these two groups. Now, big jump in the rankings, unranked up to 21. We've got the one, the only, the my God, LBJ, of course, big win over his longtime rival, the Clap Daddy, who, oh, how he tumbled this week. You know, honestly, he didn't tumble as much as he probably should have, to be fair. But, you know, Wall Street's in the ears, kind of swaying opinions in the backstage area here in TSW. LBJ, of course, qualifying for that Cruiserweight ladder match at 603 Mania, which we will touch on here as well. And, as, you know, every once in a while we get through a video, you know, we are 6-7 minutes in. I'm realizing that we do not have Mr. Benjamin erroneously unranked here. So just to make things a little bit easier on JG on the notes here, I think it would be more than fair at the very least to take Rowdy out of that 30 spot, and we're gonna rank Meme there at the 30. That's my apologies, you know. A lot of matches. I think we ended up with 13 matches, which is a lot for a Thursday. I do apologize, sir, but yes, indeed, Meme will be alongside JG, LBJ, and we know Khan at 6 Mania ladder match. We know there's gonna be a last chance qualifier as well. I think we probably ran that at 6. 8 might be too many, but you never know what happens at TSW. You could end up with 7. You know, crazier things have happened in the land of Too Sweet Wrestling. Moving right along here after a little bit of hiccup in the rankings here, we got Steph slowly rising back up despite some tough losses. Nice brawl there, distractions on Huggies, of course. Collision course, 603 Mania, Huggies versus Steph for the last time. Something's got to give. Will we see a 5-time women's champion, or will Huggies once again stand supreme? Only time will tell here. And speaking of someone who could stand tall, stand big, if you will, big time TS2 Sweet, dropping back just 2 spots for us. Number contention for the heavyweight championship. Did take a loss this week in that tag match, but is what it is in that type of situation. You know, those are the type of matches where a little bit of chaos doesn't always benefit everybody, but big time, of course, will be facing off against Raw, Landmark, and King Ched at 603 Mania. Absolute banger of a matchup. I cannot wait for that thing to go down. We've got Mrs. JG hopping up a couple spots, a little inactive, but you know, good wins as of late. Tag streak run. A couple guys did fall down the ranking, so Miss JG a little steady here. Of course, we do know we'll be going up against Bam and a mystery opponent at 603 Mania. We've got Kapnark, bit of a fall here despite being 1/4 of the trio's champions, and we're talking about Kapnark. Of course, tough loss this week in that hardcore match. Good showing, but unfortunately, a loss is a loss. Got to tumble down the rankings a little bit here. And we're curious what's going to happen here at 603 Mania with Team America. You know, they kind of got to choose their 3 and what that is going to look like. If any of these other guys get involved in other matches is certainly a possibility. We're going to find out, but speaking of Kapner, kind of fold these guys in. We got DT2, we got DT1, and we've got Kopachner, of course, Team America, the trios champions, but Freebird rule, baby. Little quartet. We've got Brandon 2K dropping back a couple spots after taking that loss in the tag match. Unable to break up that pinfall at the very end after eating that monster spear by Dargan. Of course, a lot of controversy with the BMI championship and Dargan really everywhere he goes. So Brandon 2K's got to keep his eyes peeled, especially as we do have question marks about what's up with, you know, trios. When healthy, is he strictly with Ched? What's up with Pat? What's the Pat situation? Still kind of inactive after being taken out. We don't even know what happened to him really backstage a couple weeks ago by big time. So a lot of question marks here for Brandon 2K, and another big set of question marks above his name revealed to be Johnny Clap, the Clap Daddy. 2 losses in one night. Very rarefied air in TSW, I'm afraid, but nearly pulled off the heist of a century, trying to go from championship to contender all in one fell swoop, but did take the loss. Although I will say, we're getting some backlash from Wall Street. They don't love the fact that Charles Robinson completely missed Clap's foot under the ropes. And to be fair, earlier in the match did miss a pinfall where LB had Clap for like a 10 count pinfall, but I do understand the qualms with some officiating, and we'll definitely be searching and looking into this situation a little bit more as we get closer to the new season, so to speak. But Clap did get a bit of a bad shake this week, but you know, no longer Cruiserweight champion, didn't qualify for the ladder match. I don't know what's next for Clap right now. He's gonna have his head on a swivel, just like a lot of this roster. Big win by Jen this week. Gonna jump up in the top 10. Big rise too. Really a big rise here, but was on a minor cold streak, is half the tag team champions, finally back in action. Really good win over Bama. As you mentioned, we'll be facing Offense Bama mystery partner at 603 Mania. We talked about him in that Fatal 4. We're talking the one, the only, the King Chad. Royalty is here. Love me some King Chad. I do believe we have an electric promo coming from him this week. But of course, one piece of this monster main event at 603 Mania, the king of the promos, possibly Golden Mike Award winner in the offseason here, King Chad. Two-time heavyweight champion. We're gonna find out in a month's time, guys. Yeah, it is indeed almost time for 603 Mania. I'm so excited for that show. Coming up to 8 here, and this is where we have a lot of the same old. At 8, staying at 8, we got Dargan. Talked about this on the Brandon 2K entry, so not gonna get too much into Dargan here, but Dargan did get the pinfall. Nice win this week. Small riser, but that's because a lot of people had him a little bit more consistency, I should say, as of late. But Dargan, my word, this man is an absolute demon, to say the least. Inside the ring, outside the ring. The hot car promo that gets you all hot and steamy. Watch out for Dargan. Watch out for Brandon 2K. The Pat situation here. 603 Mania. I know, I keep saying it, but I just can't wait. I'm so excited. It's gonna be so good. I just have so much excitement for this man. I can't hide it. And speaking of can't hide it, so excited, just can't hide it. Huggy's hot streak right now, a hot streak, probably one of the biggest win streaks that the women's division has seen, outside of course Steph. And I don't think it's really close. Huggy's been hot as it gets right now. Love these wins, love the brawling, love the physicality. 603 Mania, Steph, Huggy's staying pat at 7, staying pat at 6. We got Phineas and Herb, half the tag team champions. Not officially in action this week, but did get involved in both matches that kind of had some affiliation with there, of course, getting the ejection in the singles match and then distracting Joker, which truly changed the pacing of that matchup completely. Finn, of course, will be facing Swanee this week, but you got to think, once again, Joker lurking in the shadows in the upcoming weeks. Big jump, but not a huge jump, really. 4 spots here for Khan, of course, now 2-time Cruiserweight champion, will be defending in a ladder match at Mania. Yes, indeed, he will likely not defend up until that show. Bit of a hot potato there by Clap and Khan. It's wrestling at its finest. You never know what's going to happen in TSW. We have title reigns that'll go for months, and all of a sudden it'll be boop, 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 boop. Just flip them. Just flip them. Flip them like burgers at Burger King. But Khan, once again, loving where Khan's at right now, but ladder match, multi-man at Mania, he's got his work cut out for him, guys. Got a work cut out for him. Now, jumping up 1 spot, we're going to have Raw Dog, of course. Big win over Joker, though controversial as it may be. A win nonetheless. Of course, won the Royal Rumble, former 3-time tag team champion. This guy is dominant as it gets. 603 Mania, destiny calls for Raw Dog. Will he finally back up the bark? We're going to find out. But the top 3... we got Boxy. Boxy stays pat at number 3. Great run right now. Less title defenses and shorter streak than the other guys at the top. But when you talk about Boxy, we mentioned the AJ attack. We mentioned, of course, they will be matched up at 603 Mania, so not too much to dive into there. But Boxy, of course, now the longest reigning hardcore and longest reigning Universal champions in TSW history. Truly unprecedented run here in TSW for Boxy. And the 2-1 spot, Boxy stayed at 3, which means you got to think that Roldy staying at 2. And of course, we'll touch on it in a moment, but we'll leave Roldy up. We're going to be dropping, or keeping Landmark, I should say, at 1 as well. All these guys have been so dominant as of late. Title defense after title defense. And I'll be honest, I almost bumped Roldy up. I really almost did. I mean, you know, Landmark, good singles win, but DJ's relatively unproven singles action, I think is fair to say. Outside, he is a winning record though against Raw as DJ in singles competition, but I do think that Landmark has just a little bit more of a trajectory at the moment compared to Roldy. But Roldy, you line him up, he's been putting him down, and he's been putting him down in dominant fashion. Frankly, dominant fashion. I don't know what's next for Roldy right now. There's kind of a reset in that hardcore division, but I'm very quite certain that whoever does run into Roldy next, they're not going to have a good time. They're not going to have a good time. They're going to be serving hard times, just like if you mess with our guy Landmark, the big boss. And of course, he is champ, first champ in history, Mr. the Money in the Bank, 2-time BMI champion. He's got a laundry list of accomplishments here in TSW. He will remain the #1 rank for now. But next week, gonna be interesting. I'm not sure if Landmark will be set for action. There's a chance we see a swap here. If not, I'd have to go back and look, but I think we're very close to seeing the longest ranked #1 individual in TSW, because I know Ched and Brandon were very close, but they did trade a little bit. So we might just have one more record in the books for our guy Landmark. Until then, guys, make sure you hit that code JG603 for your Rogue Energy. Hit that like button, comment, subscribe, note about ding activated, all that good stuff. And I'll see you next time. Woo. Appreciate you. Did I mention I'm excited for 603 Mania? I don't think I did.